Hey guys, Kurt here, and today, why your twin flame is the best spiritual teacher ever. And the title of the video is actually Twin Flames, the best spiritual lesson ever. And it's because your twin flame is your best spiritual catalyst. If you don't know what this word is, pause the video real quick, hop on the internet and look up this word, catalyst. Your twin flame is your best spiritual catalyst that you could have ever asked for. So first, let's talk about why that is, and then we'll talk about spiritual catalysts, and then I'll pick it back up and finish explaining why that is. So the true purpose of twin flames, and I actually have a video if you want to go watch it called The True Purpose of Twin Flames. The true purpose of twin flames is not so that you can be with them, although that can happen. There are things that you can do to make that happen. And if you're new to my channel and you want more information and you did not know this, I make all kinds of videos, you guys, where I talk about twin flames and other spiritual topics, and I've made it very, very easy for you. You don't have to go digging through the videos section of my channel. Just go to the playlists menu and look for the playlist called How to Get Your Twin Flame. I also have a playlist about the law of attraction and another playlist about the true spiritual journey, general spiritual topics. Well, anyway, getting back, the true purpose of twin flames, and again, in my other videos, if you want to know how to get your twin flame to be with you, I can help you. Just go watch my other videos. But the true purpose of twin flames isn't really so that you can be with them. It is so that you can exist on this physical plane. And you can go watch my video called What Are Twin Flames? And that'll be perfectly clear to you. And that video, by the way, What Are Twin Flames, is my most liked video. I just noticed that the other day and I was like, that's awesome. Because there's so many likes, so many thumbs ups, and so many thumbs downs, and the proportion is the lowest or the highest, depending on how you look at it. It's the highest number of thumbs ups versus the lowest number of thumbs downs. And so I think what I'm teaching is resonating with people, right? And it's perfectly logical. It's totally makes sense. It's very, very common sense stuff that I teach in that video. The purpose of twin flames is so that you can exist here on this physical plane. Now, you could say that there is an ancillary purpose to twin flames also, right? Auxiliary, secondary, ancillary. If you're not sure about this word, pause the video and go look it up also. So the true purpose of twin flames is so that you can exist on this physical plane, but there is an ancillary purpose also, and that is that they trigger your spiritual awakening, and boy, do they trigger it. They are your best spiritual catalyst, your twin flame. Let's talk about spiritual catalysts for a second. What is a spiritual awakening? Well, most people have or make the incorrect assumption that a spiritual awakening should look like somebody who is already spiritually awakened. Right? Like, oh, I'm spiritual and I'm ascending. Oh, I'm spiritual. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm spiritual. Everything's all good. I'm love and yeah, spiritual. Yeah, oh, spiritual. Right? That's what people think a spiritual awakening looks like. There's this misconception that people have that a spiritual awakening should look like someone who is already spiritually awakened. And by the way, that's another falsehood, that the stereotype, which I was just poking fun at, the stereotype about what a spiritually awakened person looks like is like that, like some stereotype of etherical, mystical, spiritual person or something. It's not like that. It's not, okay? Just watch Jim Carrey as of late. Watch him, just over the last few years. Like, does he look like Buddha to you? Does he act like Buddha? No, but he's one of the most awakened people there are. Well, anyway, a spiritual awakening, it turns out, is actually kind of terrible. Right? And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And any of you who have met your other self, aka twin flame, I call it other self because that's really what it is. They are you in another body. Anybody who meets their twin flame, it triggers the breakup of the ego. And in traditional spiritualism, true spiritualism, they call that ego death. They have a saying: to awaken spiritually, it's like you have to die before you die. And what they mean is the ego, the false sense of self, what you believe you is, right? Your personality, your ego, your id. Most people on this planet derive their sense of self through the ego, through the mind. That's what they believe the self is. And when you meet your other self, your twin flame, it triggers the breakdown of those retained thought and emotional patterns. It triggers the breakdown of that false sense of self, the mind-identified sense of self, ego, personality. It triggers the breakdown of that when you meet your twin flame. There's a metaphysical reason for that. And if you go watch my video called What Are Twin Flames? And also The True Purpose of Twin Flames, I explain that in a lot more detail. But there's a metaphysical thing that takes place between you two where it triggers the breakdown of that ego. It's ego death. You have to die before you die. But what is the you? What is the you that's dying in this scenario? Well, not your physical body, but the false sense of self, the ego, the personality, right? So that you can be the real you. And what is the real you? The soul. And the soul is nothing more than consciousness itself. And that's what your twin flame is. You and your twin flame are the same soul. Your twin flame is your best spiritual catalyst. It doesn't have to be a twin flame. Jim Carrey, he didn't meet his twin flame. I'm not really sure what happened with him. To be honest with you, all I know is he had a dark night of the soul experience, just like you did. Ego death, as it is called in traditional spiritualism, dying before you die, so to speak. Dark night of the soul, right? That's what we call that in the twin flame world. Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now. And there's a lot of spiritual teachers that teach what he teaches. And they've been teaching this for thousands of years. Buddha, Hare Krishna. They all teach the same thing. You need to get out of your mind. You are not your mind. The true self is consciousness. But I like Eckhart Tolle because he is really good at using modern language to explain this to people. He's just really good at explaining it. He's also a very quaint, quiet, reticent, like little Yoda. It's like you could see little Yoda ears popping out from the back of his head whenever you listen to him talk. He's great. He's great. He's very soothing to listen to him talk. Some people, I've actually had a few people, not many, but a couple of people tell me, I don't like his voice, dude. It's annoying. I like his voice, but I don't know. Some people have a problem with that. But okay, fine. Just read his book. Just read his book and don't watch his videos. But most people like him. Most people like him. And he did a video called The Dark Night of the Soul. And he had a dark night of the soul. Now, was his spiritual awakening his dark night of the soul? Dark night of the soul is what triggers your spiritual awakening. We are washing away the false sense of self, the ego, the personality, right? We're washing that away. And when you wash it away, it is dying. It is what you derived your sense of self from. And it's extremely excruciating and painful because life feels meaninglessness. You don't know who you are. There's a reason they call it dark night of the soul. Well, it's really dark night of the ego. That's really what it is. Because the ego is breaking down. The ego is dying. And when the ego breaks down and dies, it hurts. The ego does not like dying. That's why it's so dramatic. Well, anyway, he had an experience like that, Eckhart Tolle, but he did not meet his twin flame. Neither did Jim Carrey. And most people who have a spiritual awakening experience, which again is almost always, it's almost never without some kind of a dark night of the soul experience, you guys. That almost never happens. It does happen, but not often. But it, for most people, is not triggered by meeting their twin flame. Now, what's nice about meeting your twin flame, hopefully you will find somebody like me who is explaining this for what it is, instead of the Fruity Loop, flighty, fluffy, what I call junk food spiritualism, right? Where it's healing and mission and we're going to save the world and my twin flame and I are supposed to be together forever and ooh, we love each other eternally and we have all these past lives together and we're on a mission and we're going to save the world. Oh, yeah, twin flames. Oh, twin flames, everybody. Oh, we're going to save the world. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Just when you look at the general twin flame community, I just get this like aura, this pulsating aura from the general community of obsession and kind of fast foody spiritualism, pop culture spiritualism, not real authentic spiritualism, it's just kind of hokey and Fruity Loop, and it doesn't really seem to be rooted in anything concrete or tangible that I can use. And I'm sure most of you watching agree with that. Like, after you look at that stuff for so long, it's like, I don't know, guys. This doesn't seem to be rooted in anything concrete. It just seems kind of arbitrary. But the fact is, this is really just your spiritual journey. You and your twin flame are the same spirit. You just need to embrace true spiritualism. And anyway, if you do that, you feel better and your twin flame starts talking to you again. Well, anyway, that's the whole point. That is the ancillary purpose of meeting your twin flame. They are the best spiritual catalyst. Your twin flame is the ultimate spiritual catalyst. They are the best spiritual lesson. Because when you start to align with your soul, and this happens to my students all the time, people who sign up to take my Introduction to the Journey course, you can sign up at newworldallstar.com. And my students, their twin flame, when they start my program, their twin flame has had them blocked for a year in a lot of cases. They're not talking. They start taking my program and they don't even have any contact with their twin flame. All they're doing is like getting out of the addictive energy and turning this into a spiritual journey instead of a twin flame journey. And their fucking twin flame starts talking to them all of a sudden for the first time in like a year. And they didn't even reach out. The twin flame initiated, right? That happens. And you're going, wow, that's amazing. I want that to happen. My twin flame has me blocked too, right? Well, yeah, I get that. But here's what I'm trying to get you to see. There's a reason that is happening. And when the twin flame does start talking to you, and the reason that that happens, of course, is because you are letting go of the physical person and aligning with your soul, which is your twin flame. And so that explains why the twin flame starts talking to my student. Well, anyway, when the twin flame starts talking to the student again, oftentimes my student will get triggered again, and it'll start bringing up some of those old patterns. And what I tell them is, well, it's not necessary for you to interact with your twin flame just yet. Maybe the best idea would be if, for now, you maintain no contact, but look at how they're making you feel. And notice the thoughts and the feelings that you are having is coming from the ego, the personality, all those old patterns. You have to change what you believe you is. That's the basic tenet of true spiritualism. You got to get out of your mind and align with your soul, which is your twin flame, by the way. That you believe you are the personality or the mind or the ego, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm using those words interchangeably. But that you are doing that is the problem. And they call that the human condition. People, when they believe that they are their mind, we call that the human condition. That's where they derive their sense of self from. And your twin flame is causing that breakdown to occur. And what I do with my students is I tell you, we'll keep going. Like the initial shock of the dark night of the soul, I can help you get out of that and start to feel better. And then why stop? Keep going, because you're going to go from just feeling better. Like, I'm glad I feel better. That's great. But I want to feel incredible, right? Why not? And the deeper you go into your soul, which is you, the more incredible you'll feel. And your twin flame, they keep popping up in your reality over time. They come, there's a trigger, and I explain yet again as your coach, okay, use the trigger as a tool for you to neutralize your duality-based energy, your mind, balance that energy out, and get out of the mind altogether and align with your soul, which is you, right? So this is all about changing what you believe you is from the mind to the soul. So use the trigger when your twin flame comes in. Use the trigger as a tool to do that spiritual work. And then that situation goes down and it goes away. And then you go back to, okay, I'm not doing my spiritual journey and everything's all good, right? And then a few weeks later or something, the twin flame comes back. Maybe you run into them on the street. That happens all the time with my students. And now you're really triggered. And then at that time, I tell the student, well, once again, use this as a catalyst. And then these bumps keep occurring, and over time, the bumps get smaller and smaller and smaller. And actually, once you get out of the addiction to the physical person, it happens fast. Most of my students, it's like 1 to 3 months, and it's like completely different. Like they are a completely different person, and no more triggers. It's amazing. You guys, once you start doing this journey the way it was meant to be done, how quickly things change for you. And all I do is I tell people, just put your relating experience with the physical person on hold. And if you do have contact with them, don't really respond for now, just kind of leave it. But if a trigger comes up, here's what we do. And then in a couple of months, it's like, pow! But this is the thing. Your twin flame is your best spiritual catalyst. See, what the person is doing and what the trigger that you're experiencing is doing, that's not really what's important. My internal experience is not contingent upon my external circumstances. And here's the thing. What I'm trying to teach you is that you is the soul. That's what the self is. The soul itself is pure consciousness. The mind is external to you. And if you start treating it that way, that's when you start to get this to work. And that's when the real spiritual growth takes off. And it's a powerful, amazing explosion of spiritual growth. It happens really fast when you start doing it that way. Treat the mind as external to you because it is. So once again, my internal experience is not contingent upon my external circumstances. So the trigger itself is external to you. Here's another thing about your twin flame. Your twin flame is your best spiritual catalyst also because this person doesn't realize what they're doing. They don't know what's going on with the connection. You can go watch my video called What Does My Twin Flame Experience? What Does My Twin Flame Go Through? Something like that. I did a video about that. Also in my video called What Are Twin Flames? I explain that you're conscious of this connection. They are subconscious. So in other words, when you are attached to them and you want them and you're pining for them, yearning for them, that's what pushes them away, and they just gotta go. There might not be a good reason for them to run away, but they do. And I've even had students where their twin flame told them shit like, I know, like, so they're asking them, my student is asking their twin flame, why are you breaking up with me? This doesn't make any sense. We're so good for each other. And their twin flame goes, I know, we're so perfect for each other, but it would just never work out. Well, I guess that doesn't make any sense, does it? No, it doesn't make any sense. And again, I even had one student where their twin flame said that, and that's what he said. It was like, we're so perfect for each other that it wouldn't work out. And then he goes, I guess that doesn't make any sense, does it? They don't know why. They gotta go. They just gotta go, guys. They just gotta get the fuck away from you. The more that you pine and yearn for them, they just gotta go. They don't know why. They are subconscious. You are conscious, positive polarity. They are subconscious, negative polarity. It's a polarization. Go watch my video called What Are Twin Flames if you want to know what I'm talking about. Now, when you let go of the attachment, when you let go of the need and the want and the yearning and the pining for the person and switch over to just making this your spiritual journey only, that's when the person shows up. And this time, they want to be with you and they don't know why they want to be with you. They just want to be with you. It's inexplicable. They just act, guys. They're subconscious, right? You're conscious, they're subconscious, basically. Is the best way I know how to describe that. And they're not going to validate your spiritual ascension. They're not ever going to come to you and go, oh, I get it now. We're twin flames. Yeah. And you're going, that's it. I have the proof. I knew it. We're twin flames and I'm doing things right now because they realized and they woke up to it. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Your soul is not going to give you external validation, guys. Your soul is not going to give you external validation, at least not in that way. I mean, if your twin flame unblocks you and starts talking to you again, the minute you start to let them go and feel better, that's, I guess you could say, external validation. And I even did a video about that called How to Verify This Is My Twin Flame or something like that. But them coming to you and just go, oh yeah, I know we're twin flames now. I totally get it now. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They don't know why they do what they do. Your soul is not going to validate for you. And that's exactly how this works, guys. A spiritual awakening, generally speaking, is where you go in and you don't need external validation anymore. And there's a reason why it is that way. Okay? You don't need external validation anymore because you're going in, and when you go inside, you're letting go, detaching from the outside world. And everybody here has heard how you have to detach from your twin flame. Technically, you can't really detach from them because you are them. But when I say the word detach, what I'm talking about is letting go of the need and the desire and the pining and the yearning for them. Okay? And detaching actually comes from, like very old, very ancient, kind of Eastern spiritual philosophies, spiritual teachings, right? Spiritual modalities, spiritual belief systems. Detaching is where you're letting go of the need for validation from the outside world or the need for outside things or worldly things, because you're all focused on going in here. And anyway, what happens when you detach from, and I teach this when I teach the law of attraction, it's true. You got to detach. You got to let go of the outcome. You got to let go of the need for the physical thing. Because if you tell the universe, I need such and such thing, the universe goes, okay, I'm going to give you the experience of needing it. You can't have what you need. You can only have what you have. So you have to have the energy of having. So detaching is actually part and parcel of true spiritualism, which is aligning with your soul, aligning with your spirit. That's spiritualism. And also, and I guess you could say the technical reason behind why that is the way it is when we were created in the beginning, right, so to speak, we'll just say it like that. That's not really how it works, but we'll just put it like that just to keep things simple, right? In the beginning, right, when we were all created, so to speak, Source, God, right, whatever you want to call it, split itself into an infinite number of smaller, tiny pieces of itself, of which you are one and I am another. And these are called souls. So, we all, at our core, are a little tiny piece of Source itself. Source is not going to prove itself to itself. It does not need to prove to itself, which is you at your core. You are Source. Source is not going to, it does not need validation from the other parts of it that are out there in the universe, in the outside world. Source does not need to prove itself to itself. All you need to do is recognize that you are Source, that you are that little piece of consciousness, which, by the way, is your twin flame. So there's many, many reasons why your twin flame is the best spiritual catalyst. They're never going to validate for you. They're never going to validate for you that you're doing things properly. I guess that's not really true. If you let go energetically of the person all the way and like completely detoxify from their addictive energy of the physical person, from the addictive energy of the physical person, and switch over to making this purely your spiritual journey, and the person unblocks you and starts talking to you, or you run into them, or they make love confessions to you suddenly, whereas before they were rejecting you or something, right? If that happens, that's validation. That is proof. And I mean, in that light, they are your best spiritual catalyst too, because your soul is just giving you information. That's all that is. They're just giving you, your soul is giving you information. Oh, you're doing it right. You're doing it right, right? If that happens. But when they come to you, when they start talking to you, they're still not going to say, oh, I get it. We're twin flames now. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So there you go, guys. That's as good of a job as I can do to explain this kind of thought that I had about twin flames. Your twin flame is your best spiritual catalyst. It's way better than any other type of spiritual awakening that you could have had. Eckhart Tolle, his spiritual awakening was kind of just triggered by his life circumstances. And it was very effective, obviously. But you guys, meeting your twin flame is the best thing ever. When you really start to use this journey the way that it was intended to be used, it's so useful. It's so helpful. It will catapult you into levels of awakening that you didn't even know existed. You can trust me on that, because I've done it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.